Okay, today's chapter is Dhyana Yoga. And is everybody able to see the screen and hear my voice?
Yes, Mataji.
Very good. Thank you so much. Okay, so let us, before we start the class, let us take the blessings of the beautiful deities of Sri Radha Govinda Ji. Sri Radha Govinda Ji ki Jai. Okay, so this is the previous chapter recap. So section 1, 5.1 to 5.6, Arjuna asked the question, right, which is easier, like Nishkama Karma Yoga or Karma Sannyas? So what does Krishna say? Krishna says Nishkama Karma Yoga is easy for you, Arjuna. Please do that. And so in section 2, Krishna explains how to perform Nishkama Karma Yoga. And in section 3, platform of knowledge, knowing the three doers. So who are the three doers? It is the super soul, the soul, and Prakriti. So section 4, we saw how liberation, how do we get liberation? By focusing on the super soul. And section 5, we saw in 2 shlokas, just a brief introduction to Ashtanga Yoga. So how we get liberation through Ashtanga Yoga. So that we'll see in the 6th chapter in detail. Okay. And in section 6, we saw peace on the platform of liberation. So how how we can get peace or peace on the platform of liberation is by the 3 P's, the 3P formula. How when you know that Krishna is the enjoyer, Krishna is the what is that? He's the best friend and Krishna is the controller. So when we know this, we automatically obtain peace. So that is what we saw, okay, in the previous chapter. Now in section 6, now we have in this also we have 6 parts, okay. So today I'm not sure, but I thought I'd complete 3 sections today till 6.32. So let's see like how much we can we'll try to complete. So section 1, you can see that we are advancing in yoga through detached work. Okay, so how we can advance in yoga through detached work. And section 2, we'll see yoga ruda stage. So this is one stage in Ashtanga yoga. It is the highest stage in Ashtanga yoga where you practice meditation by giving up work. And in section 3, we'll see further stages in the practice of yoga. And section, oops. Yeah. And in section 4, we'll see the necessity of controlling the turbulent mind. How mind is a friend and an enemy. We'll see that. Okay. And in section 5, the destination of the unsuccessful yogi. So now Arjuna asked this wonderful question to Krishna. See, Krishna, see, if I am giving up all my material activities, material desires, and I'm doing my spiritual activities. See, doing even what if I don't get success in spiritual life? See, it's not that all of us will go back to Godhead in this life itself, right? But we are trying our best to go. So Arjuna is asking Krishna, see, we are neither materially there, spiritually also. If we don't get success, like what is the destination of such a person? See, he has given up all his material desires, and now spiritually also he's not able to achieve the goal. Then what will happen to such an unsuccessful yogi? Krishna and Arjuna is asking Krishna. So let's see what Krishna answers to that. Okay, and in section 6 we'll see the topmost yogi. So who is the topmost yogi? A bhakta. Who is a bhakti yogi? He is the topmost of all yogis. So we'll see that. Okay, in section 6. So Ashtanga Yoga in section 1, 6.1 to 4 shlokas, we'll see advancing in yoga through detached work. Okay, so Ashtanga yogis, like Nishkama Karma yogis, engage in detached work to advance. So here, a Nishkama Karma yogi and Ashtanga yogi, so they give up the fruitive work. I mean, the results of the work, they don't get attached to it. They give away the results. Okay, they don't enjoy the results. They are detached from the results. So let's see. But when does detachment come? Here it is said, detachment comes to one who realizes that he is not autonomous in his actions. So when does detachment come? When he thinks, suppose if you think that I am the only doer, I am doing everything, I have to do everything for my family, nobody can do anything, only I have to do, and he takes everything on his head, then he will not get detachment. He will be more and more attached only if he thinks he is the only doer. But when he understands that without Lord's sanction, he cannot do anything, then he becomes detached. So, if he thinks he is the only doer, then what happens? He takes the whole responsibility on his head and he gets more and more and more attached. Okay, so but when do we get detachment? When we understand, see, I am not the only doer. There are actually three doers. Out of that, the main doer is the super soul, the Lord. Only if the Lord sanctions can anything happen, can my desire be fulfilled. So he understands that. So then he won't be attached, right? Because he knows that, see, if he thinks he is the doer and he is able to do it, then he won't get detached. But when he knows that, okay, Krishna has to sanction, okay, and so it's not in my hands. So then he gets detached to the results. Okay, then he gets that detachment. Okay, so we've seen this, right? This chart is Jiva desires. So red line you see, right? Red arrow. The super soul verifies and sanctions based on, does this Jiva deserve to get this desire fulfilled? Okay, based on his karmic reactions and everything, and does he really need it? The super soul sanctions the desire, like whether he has to fulfill or how much it can be fulfilled. And then when the super soul sanctions, it goes to Prakriti. Okay, Prakriti through the three modes. Okay, Sattva, Raja, Tama fulfills the Jiva's desire. When the Lord sanctions, then the Prakriti through the modes. Okay, it fulfills the Jiva's desire. Okay, so these three are the main doers: Jiva, Super Soul, Prakriti. Okay, so then we can get detachment if we know that we are not the only doer and there is Super Soul and Prakriti besides us. Okay, then we get detachment. Okay, see, one who purifies his vision and activity by Nishkama Karma Yoga can make further advancement by practice of meditation on Super Soul by Ashtanga Yoga method. So, before we start the Ashtanga Yoga, what is the prerequisite? You should be practicing Nishkama Karma Yoga. And we saw what is Nishkama Karma Yoga in chapter 5. In this previous chapter, chapter 5, we saw. So, what is Nishkama Karma Yoga? So, we perform our duties, but with no attachment to results, right? What happens when we do Nishkama Karma Yoga? We get purified of our sins, right? So, one here, that is what is the requisite for Ashtanga Yoga. So, one who purifies his vision and activity by Nishkama Karma Yoga can go to the next step. See, after he does Nishkama Karma Yoga, then he comes to practice of meditation on Super Soul. So Nishkama Karma Yoga, after that he comes to Ashtanga Yoga. So in Ashtanga Yoga, who do they meditate on? Super Soul. You can see the picture, right? How a Ashtanga yogi is meditating in the heart on the Super Soul. Okay. Then what is the final stage for a Ashtanga yogi? See, after meditating on the Super Soul, one can develop devotion to him in Bhakti Yoga. He understands that the Super Soul is none other than Krishna himself. Okay, then he stops meditating and then he starts doing devotional service. He develops devotion towards him. Okay, he understands that the Super Soul that he has been meditating all this while he has a personal form, that is Krishna, and he thus starts doing devotional service because he understands that peace formula we saw right in 5th chapter, last sloka, that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, he is the ultimate controller, and he is the best friend. And then he starts practicing Bhakti Yoga. So he then starts doing physical seva. Till now, what he was doing is just sitting and meditating, right? As Super Soul in his heart. Okay, but still meditating on the Super Soul. One day he comes to the understanding that that Super Soul is none other than Krishna himself. Then he starts doing Bhakti Yoga. Okay, so this is like final Ashtanga Yoga. Anybody, you see, they culminate in Bhakti Yoga. Whatever process you start, it culminates. See, we've seen in the earlier chapters, Jnana to Bhakti, Karma to Bhakti Yoga, right? So, like that. Now Ashtanga Yoga, finally also, they also come to the Bhakti Yoga stage. Okay, so that is what is said here. Now, what is the connection between chapter 5 and 6? So now they're saying knowledge increases. This means that we've seen that by practicing Nishkama Karma Yoga, one develops the knowledge and understanding he understands, he gets this self understanding that I am not this body. Okay, I am the spirit soul. Okay, so next he comes to the stage that not the body detached. So in this, when one understands that I am not the body, he becomes detached from the bodily designations. That he's Hindu, Muslim, Indian, American. Okay, he becomes detached from bodily designations and all material enjoyments. Then next he comes to the Gnana Yoga. The Kumaras is given an example of Kumaras. Okay, what is this Jnana Yoga? See, in this stage, when he becomes detached from bodily life, the yogi focuses more on mind. Okay, mind rather than worldly, all the worldly distractions. He goes far away from all these worldly distractions and he focuses more on mind. So now for this the Jnana Yoga, you all must be knowing Kumaras, right? Initially, before coming to Bhakti Yoga, these Kumaras who are sons of Brahma, Brahma requested them to marry. So Brahma mainly created people so that they can do progeny, right? But the sons of Brahma, Kumaras, they said, no, 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 we don't want to get into all this material entanglement. And what did they do? These Kumaras, they engaged themselves in meditation and they wanted to know more about the super soul. Okay, they meditated and they wanted to know more about the supreme soul. Okay, and then after Gnana Yogi, now further the consciousness increases. Like now we saw, like they know that they are not the body, they're detached, and they have that Gnana also. These both they have. So what happens? The consciousness becomes purified and becomes elevated. Instead of being centered, till now they were thinking that I and mine. Okay, now the yogi's consciousness, it expands towards the super soul, Paramatma. Okay, so next, super soul, last stage is super soul. He gets the super soul realization. So the yogi starts meditating on the super soul, which is seated in his heart. Okay, hope you understood this chain, the connection between 5 to 6. See, the first is like Nishkama Karma Yoga, all right? And Nishkama Karma Yoga, that stage, knowledge increases. In that stage, then we come to know that the yogi comes to know that he's not the body and he gets detached. Yeah, he gets detached from all bodily designations and material enjoyments, and he comes to the stage of Jnana Yoga. In Jnana Yoga, what do? They start meditation. They focus more on the mind, not on all these material things. They are not disturbed by all these material things. Then, as further consciousness increases, and because of this detachment, he knows that he's not the body, he's the soul. And Jnana Yoga, he starts focusing more on the mind. He becomes purified, okay, and he becomes elevated. So instead of thinking that this is mine, this is I mine, they are my people, this is my property, all this he goes away and his consciousness expands to super soul. And then last stage is super soul realization, where the yogi starts meditating on the super soul, okay, who is seated in the heart. Okay. Okay, so before practicing Ashtanga, advanced stages of Ashtanga Yoga, one must be purified by the practice of Nishkama Karma Yoga. See, before this is a prerequisite. That's why chapter 5 is Nishkama Karma Yoga is discussed, and then we have Ashtanga Yoga, that is Dhyana Yoga. Okay, so therefore, Lord Krishna, now also in the first shloka, Krishna glorifies Nishkama Karma Yoga in the first two verses. Okay, so let's see the first shloka. Anashritah karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir cha na cha akriyaha. Translation: the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and works as he is obligated, is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. So, what Krishna is telling here, Krishna is trying to say who a real sannyasi and yogi is, and not a false sannyasi and yogi. Okay, Krishna is trying to tell a real sannyasi and yogi. So, who is a real sannyasi? A real sannyasi is not simply who gives up worldly duties and wears saffron and lives in seclusion, but one who works without selfish motive. He should work, not renounce work activities. He should work without attachment to results. So you got the point here. Generally, what do we think sannyasi? He wears saffron robes. He goes to the forest. Okay, there he does no work. That's what generally sannyasis do. But what is Krishna saying? But who is this real sannyasi? Real sannyasi is who does work, not who doesn't do work, who does work, but how? With the attachment to, without attachment to results. He is a true sannyasi. And who is a true yogi? A true yogi is not someone who sits in meditation without doing any work, but one who works without a selfish motive and works without attachment to the results. Generally, what do we think yogi is? He is just closing his eyes, sitting in one place and just meditating. But Krishna is saying he is not a true yogi. So a true yogi is one who works, not, not without any work. Krishna is saying who works without a selfish motive. I mean, not for his sense gratification, for satisfying the senses of Krishna. That is without a selfish motive. So, without a selfish motive and without attachment to the results. Okay, see, I'll give you an example so that you can understand very well. See, now a man may wear orange robes, but still think in his mind about money and prestige. Okay, this is not renunciation. This is not true renunciation. See, externally, though he may be looking like a sannyasi, okay, he's wearing saffron robes, but and in his mind, he's thinking about money, prestige, name, fame, everything. So he is not a true renunciate. But there may be a householder who does his job, takes care of his family, but offers everything to Krishna. Like whatever income comes, he offers it to the Lord, to Krishna, without expecting anything in return. This is true renunciation. So Krishna is telling we should do this. Okay, we should work. Okay, without any expectation of results. We should, that too, we should work for Krishna without any expectation of results. That is true renunciation. Okay, so sannyas does not mean stopping activity. So the key, what Krishna is telling is working in duty, doing your dharma, but without desire for personal gains. So no sense gratification. Okay, only for satisfaction of Krishna. Okay, so here they're saying complete renunciation of work is not possible in this world for anybody. Okay, even a sannyasi, he has some duties. It's not like a sannyasi does not have any duties and he's completely renunciated. No. Okay, he also has some specific duties. So, what are they trying to say is the true principle is yoga through action. So, you must do yoga through action, means work. That is karma yoga. So, not escape from action. So, you should not escape from doing work. You should do work, but without expectation of results. Okay, so who is a real sannyasi? See, a real sannyasi is not one who simply quits work, but one who works without attachment to results. Okay, so Krishna is making it clear. And who is a real yogi? A real yogi is not one who merely meditates in seclusion, but one who, like one who lives and works in harmony with Krishna's will. Okay, so this is the definition that Krishna gives for a true sannyasi and a true yogi. Not that they give up work and everything and they go in the forest and they sit in seclusion and meditate. No. Krishna says they have to work for Krishna without any expectation of results. Okay, so they are considered as true yogi and true sannyasi. Okay. So this is all given in the purport of Prabhupada. So when I give the PPT, you can just read, because this is the same thing that I've explained now. Okay. See here, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prays in this way: Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye, mama janmani janmanishware, bhavatad bhaktir ahaituki tvai. So who is a perfect yogi? See, what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asking? Oh Almighty Lord, I have no desires to accumulate wealth, nor to enjoy beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. Then what does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu want? He doesn't want all this. What does he want? What I want only is the causeless mercy of your devotional service in my life, birth after birth. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, see, he is renouncing sense gratification. He's saying, I don't want wealth. I don't want to enjoy beautiful women. I don't want any one number of followers. He's saying he doesn't want any sense gratification. So he is a renunciant. He's saying, I don't want any sense gratification. What I want, I just want to work for you. So I want to do your devotional service in my life, birth after birth. So that is a true renunciant. Okay, he does not expect anything. He does not want anything for himself, for his sense gratification. He wants to satisfy the senses of Krishna without any result, expecting any result. He just wants to serve Krishna birth after birth. Okay. Now let's go to 6.2. Now, yam sannyasam iti prahur yogam tam vidhi pandava nahi asanyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana. What is called What is called renunciation? You should know to be the same as yoga. So now they're saying renunciation is same as yoga. What is that? We may think sannyas and yoga is different. But here Krishna is telling renunciation is the same as yoga. And what is that? Linking oneself with the Supreme. Okay? O son of Pandu, that is, he's telling Arjuna, for one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. So we saw right in the previous shloka how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also saying, I don't want this, I want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. So he's giving up the desire for sense gratification. But what is he asking for? Linking oneself with the Supreme. He's saying, I want your devotional service, janma after janma, birth after birth. Okay, so here, see, we generally think that renunciation and yoga are different, but here Krishna is saying what? Renunciation and yoga are not different. Okay, see, generally what do people think? People often think that sannyas means simply giving up work and retiring to the forest and going to the forest. But here Krishna explains that real sannyasi is the same as yoga. Okay, yoga means here they are saying what? Linking up with the Supreme. Okay, linking up with the Supreme. Yoga, it's yoga, that term means you getting linked, connected to Krishna or the Supreme. Okay, it's the same. Okay, both mean working without attachment to fruitive results. Okay. Now, false renunciation is rejected. See, like what is false renunciation means what? If someone gives up activities, generally what do sannyasis do? They give up all their activities. Okay, they don't do anything and they just go to the forest and they attain jnana or something like that. Okay, so if someone gives up activities, but still in their mind they keep desire for material enjoyment in the heart, that is not true renunciation. Okay, so this is false renunciation. What is true renunciation? True renunciation is you work for Krishna without attachment to the results. But what is false renunciation? They don't do. They go to the forest. They don't. They sit there and they in their mind they'll be thinking. They give up everything. They don't do any activity. Okay, and in the heart I mean, the mind, they'll be having a desire for material enjoyment. I want to eat this, I want that money, I want this name, fame. That is not true renunciation. See, for example, a person may give up family and society, okay, outwardly, but still, secretly in his mind, he desires for fame, wealth, and enjoyment. So, this is called Falgu Vairagya, false renunciation. So this should not be done. We should have the true renunciation. Okay, true sannyas we should take, not false sannyas. Okay, so what is true renunciation? We saw in the previous shloka also what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was saying. So true renunciation means give up sense gratification desires. What Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted? He said, I don't want name, I don't want fame, don't want followers, I don't want any woman, this thing, I don't want to enjoy any woman. He says, I don't want all these, he's giving up all sense gratification desires. I don't want anything for my sense gratification. So what do I want? He's saying, I want to serve you. I only want to satisfy you, Krishna. Please give me this benediction, Janma after Janma. I want to just serve you without any expectation of results. I just want to serve you. So Krishna says that without renouncing the desire for sense enjoyment, no one can become a yogi. So first of all, you should be purified. You should remove this desire for I, mine. This bodily detachment should go away. Okay, this sense gratification that I am this, this is my property, I am the head of the family, these people are my people, this is my wealth. So all these things should be given up. Okay, this desire for sense enjoyment, if you want to become a yogi, Krishna is telling, you must give up the desire for sense enjoyment. Okay, so without giving up sense enjoyment, no one can become a yogi. So that means one may continue to work. He may continue to work, but not for his satisfaction, but for Krishna's satisfaction. Okay, so in the previous chapter also we saw like Nishkama Karma Yoga. We saw chapter 5. We saw how Krishna, he already established that the true renunciant is not one who gives up work. So Arjuna asks, right, Karma Sannyasa is better or Nishkama Karma Yoga? So then Krishna says, right, see, who is a true renunciant is not one who gives up work. So what does sannyasa do? He gives up work. So he says, no, don't do, you don't take up karma sannyas, you do nishkama karma yoga. And what is nishkama karma yoga? He is a true sannyasi. A nishkama karma yogi is a true sannyasi. He does not give up work. But he works for Krishna without any expectation of results. So again, the same thing Krishna is telling here now. He's saying renunciation is same as yoga, and that yoga is linking with the Supreme. That is nothing but karma yoga. So acting for Krishna, what is karma yoga? You act for Krishna without any expectation of results. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada also explains real renunciation does not mean stopping activity. Okay, we all assume that generally a sannyas means he does not do any work. But there, Krishna is telling, Prabhupada is also telling the same thing. Is not stopping activity, but what? But stopping the mentality of sense gratification. So you should stop working for yourself, for your sense gratification. You should work for the sense gratification of Krishna. So such a person is a true yogi and a sannyasi. Okay. So this that we should try to understand, because we have this false conception that when we hear the name yogi, we think they leave everything and they go to the forest and meditate. So and when we hear sannyasi, we think that oh, he leaves everything, goes to the forest in seclusion, and he does his jnana, everything, reading the books, everything, and then he meditates on like that. Then he thinks of name, fame, wealth, everything, enjoying woman, everything. So this is false renunciation. Okay, so what is a true yogi? What is a true sannyasi? That is what Krishna is trying to say here. Okay, see here, both lead to renunciation of sense gratification. So here, Krishna, Prabhupada says that Bhakti Yoga is best compared to Ashtanga Yoga. Because why? Bhakti Yoga is very easy. How you can easily become attached to Krishna? How? By engaging all your senses for Krishna. Right, your tongue for Krishna Prasadam, eyes you can engage for seeing the beautiful form of Krishna, hands you can do seva for Krishna, right? You can dress Krishna, you can cook for Krishna. So all this. So when you engage on hearing, you can use the the leelas of Krishna. Then with your nose, you can smell the flowers and tulsi offered to Krishna. So everything is so easy for us, right? Bhakti yoga. So we just engage all our senses in working for Krishna. This automatically we control the mind and senses. We don't have to artificially do like in the Ashtanga yoga. They follow in Ashtanga yoga. How do they control the mind and senses? Artificially. How? By doing this eightfold path system. This Ashta means what? Eight. Anga, eight angas are there, eight paths, eightfold path system. So they do all these different types of eight types to artificially control the senses and mind, which is very, very difficult. And Prabhupada says that it is impractical in this Kali Yuga. In such a busy world, nobody can, like allot time to do this practice. So finally, if you see in every shloka, Prabhupada says Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. It is easy. It is not at all difficult. It is easy and it is quick. Prabhupada says. Okay. So here also we can see, right? That's why Prabhupada says Bhakti Yoga is very easy. Just you have to transfer your senses from your sense gratification for the senses of Krishna, for satisfaction of Krishna. So you engage in devotional service. That's it. Nothing else you have to do. Just engage yourself in devotional service. But whereas in Ashtanga Yoga, first what you have to do, you have to give up the attachment of results. And then you have to control the senses and mind with the eightfold path system, yoga system. You have to do pranayama, yama, niyama, pratyahara, dhyana, everything, all this samadhi, all this. This is very difficult, practically in this yoga system to artificially do all these. Okay. So this is the thing. But either ways, both lead to renunciation of sense gratification. That is there. Okay, both Bhakti Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga, they lead us to renunciation of sense gratification. So for progressing, we have to give up sense gratification. That is a requisite. We should get purified. Okay, we should get that detachment of sense gratification. We should be purified of those sense desires. Okay, both give renunciation from sense gratification. But the only thing is Ashtanga Yoga is very, very difficult and not practical in this Kali Yuga. Bhakti Yoga is very easy. We can just engage our senses and mind easily. Okay, that is why Prabhupada says Bhakti Yoga is best. Okay, so this is the purport. You can read later. Now, third. Okay. Arurukshor muner yogam karma karanam uchyate yoga rudasya tasyaiva shama karanam uchyate. For one who is a neophyte in the eightfold yoga system, work is said to be the means. And for one who is already elevated in yoga, cessation means stopping, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. Okay, so here what they are trying to say, Krishna is trying to say, he's telling about the starting, the neophyte, how a neophyte in Ashtanga Yoga is, and how a yogi in advanced stage, Yoga Ruda. So at first beginner stage, neophyte stage is called Aru Rukshor. Okay, and advanced state in Ashtanga Yoga is called Yoga Rudha. Okay, so here for a person who is a neophyte in Ashtanga Yoga, he has to do work. Okay, he has to do work. Okay, and for one who is elevated in yoga, who's come to the topmost of Ashtanga Yoga, he need not do any material activity. He does not have to do any work. Okay, that is what is being said here. Okay, see, for the beginner, it is called Aru Rukshuhu. Okay, so Prabhupada says that a beginner, he cannot suddenly stop all activities, okay, and jump into meditation. Okay, for him, first he has to start with Karma Yoga. So, Karma Yoga is the first step. So, perform one's duty without attachment, offering the results to Krishna. Okay, for a beginner in Ashtanga Yoga, what he has to do? He has to practice Karma Yoga. Okay, that is the first step. So he has to perform his duty because we cannot all of a sudden come to meditation and just meditate on Lord, right? That is not possible because we have been doing activities in this material world. We have some responsibilities. So initially, in the initial stage of Ashtanga Yoga for a beginner, so for him the first step is Karma Yoga. So he has to perform his duty, but without attachment, offering the results to Krishna. Okay, so by doing this karma yoga, what happens, right? We always said it purifies the heart and it prepares the mind for meditation. Okay, by doing Nishkama Karma Yoga, what did we say that it purifies the heart, removes our sins, right? So this is like a preparatory training. So Karma Yoga is like preparatory training for a beginner in Ashtanga Yoga. So we saw that chain, right? Earlier thing. So Nishkama Karma Yoga is a prerequisite for Ashtanga Yoga. Okay. So next, what advanced yogi? He is called Yoga Ruda. Okay, one who has attained the highest stage of yoga. So when the yogi becomes steady in realization, he no longer has to perform ordinary duties. So he can give up work. Okay, so he gives up work. So because he has come to that steady realization, so meditating on the super soul, he has reached that stage. Okay, so he does not have to do any more work. Okay, for him, what he has to do? Cessation of all material activities. So he stops all material activities and calmness of the mind. So he has attained that calmness of mind because he has reached that stage of self-realization. Okay, so these two become the focus for him. Okay, he stops work and his mind becomes calm. Okay, so at this stage, he is fixed in meditation on Paramatma and he no longer needs purifying duties. See, generally, why do we do duties? Anishkama Karma Yoga, so that we get purified. But Anishkama Karma Yoga, he is already in the highest stage of yoga. He is already self realized. So he need not get purified, right? He is already in the self realized stage. So, what he does, he stops work and since his mind is calm now, he is fixed in meditation on Paramatma. Okay, so that is what is the thing. So, what does Prabhupada say? So, Prabhupada says that one should not prematurely jump to meditation by abandoning duties. Okay, so just like that, all of a sudden you jump into come into meditation. All of a sudden, all of a sudden, I leave all my duties, prescribed duties, and I will go to the forest and meditate. No, Prabhupada is saying that is not possible. That is like false renunciation. Okay, what you should do? You should not prematurely jump to meditate by giving up your duties. Okay, and Prabhupada also says, repeatedly he says, in Kali Yuga, the Ashtanga Yoga, this eightfold path system, is almost impossible because you need it requires solitude. You need a vacant place. Where in this world do you get vacant place? Everywhere now it's occupied. And you need strict sense control. Is that possible for all of us? Okay, so Prabhupada, that's why he says, therefore, it is practical to adopt Bhakti Yoga. Prabhupada always says this. See, this Ashtanga Yoga is impractical for Kali Yuga. So we can't control our senses by this eightfold path system, which is very difficult. All these yogas, prana, pranayama, dhyana, pratyahara, yama, niyama, all the sitting posture, everything, is very difficult. So what is practical? Prabhupada says Bhakti Yoga. Okay. By practicing Bhakti Yoga, Prabhupada says it automatically fills both Karma Yoga and Dhyana Yoga. So both these are filled in Bhakti Yoga. How? Karma Yoga means you are working for Krishna. Karma Yoga means you do some karma for Krishna, right? So you are working for Krishna, you do some devotional service. And Dhyana Yoga, you are fixing your mind on Krishna. What do you do when you are chanting? That is what you do, right? You hear the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna. So you are thinking about Krishna, right? So you are doing both. You are doing in Bhakti Yoga, you are working for Krishna and you're fixing your mind on Krishna as well. So that's why Prabhupada says this is the best. Bhakti Yoga is the best. Okay. So in 6.4, here a shloka is not given. So let me just see what the shloka is. Hare Krishna. I know this topic is a bit tough, Dhyana Yoga. And kindly, please focus on listening. And if you have any doubts, please ask me at the end of the class. And please don't keep your doubts in your mind. Okay. Please, it's a very, I felt it is a tough, this thing, subject and needs a lot of concentration to understand. And in case you still don't understand, I'm not able to make you understand properly, you can please ask me at the end of the class if you have any doubts. We'll try to clear it, sort it out. Huh? Thank you. So now let's read the fourth shloka. Yada hi nendriyarteshu na karmasu anusajjate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudastadochyate. So a person is said to be elevated in yoga when having renounced all material desires. See, again and again they are saying this, renounced all. When you is said to be elevated in yoga, first you have to give up your sense gratification. Okay, having renounced all material desires, he neither acts for sense gratification, see, nor engages in fruitive activities. So he gives up the results also. He's no more interested in sense gratification, and even though he works, he is not expecting something in return. He is giving up the results also. Okay, so both they are saying in text 4. So Prabhupada explains that, see, a yogi is considered advanced. Yoga Ruda, we saw right in previous sloka, when he gives up all attachment to sense enjoyment. Okay, and abandons plans for material gain. Okay, he doesn't want any gain. He gives up sense gratification. Advanced stage yogi, when does he become realized? When he has given up all his material, all his sense gratification, he has no sense desires. And he does not expect anything in return. He does not want anything. He wants no material gains. Krishna, see, I'm meditating on you, super soul. I want this in return. No, they do it just to please the super soul. Okay, so nothing they want. They give up sense gratification without any expectation of results. So he still works, but not for selfish results. For his mind is fixed on advanced stage Ashtanga Yogi, his mind is fixed on spiritual realization, not on profit, society, or personal enjoyment. Okay. So this you understood. So advanced stage Ashtanga Yogi, he gives up sense gratification. He works without attachment for results. That is, he does not want any material gain, nothing. What his mind focuses on is at this stage is spiritual realization. He does not want any profit, society, or personal enjoyment. So what is a true sign of a perfect yogi? So he has, as we discussed, right? He has no attachment to sense objects. See, he does not live for food, wealth, sex, or fame. Okay, he eats only to keep body and soul together. And he has no attachment to fruits of work. We said, right, he does not want to enjoy the results of his work. So he performs duty, but doesn't make any future plans for material success. Okay, so he does not try to store anything. He performs his duty because he has to perform, but he does not make future plans for material success. Like, oh, I will become rich, powerful, or famous. For example, a student, he studies sincerely. Why does a student study sincerely? To gain knowledge, not to boast or to compete. Okay, so that is a true yogi. He does yoga, Ashtanga yoga, for self-realization. Okay, to focus more on the super soul. Okay, not for all material gains or something like that. Like we saw the example of a student, right? He studies to gain knowledge. Okay, not to boast when like that he gets first rank or he competes with others. That is the reason he studies. That is not the true reason. He studies to gain knowledge. Okay, so a yogi is perfect when he has no attachment for sense enjoyment. that he has no sense desires, and he has no plans for material success. In the sense, he does not expect anything from, he is not expecting the results of his work. Okay, he works only as a duty or for Krishna's satisfaction or the super soul's satisfaction. Okay, so let's take an example. So Arjuna fought because it was Krishna's order. Otherwise, we all saw that Arjuna was not interested, right? He was thinking that I'm going to kill so many people, I will get sin, I will not fight. But why did he fight in the end? He fought because Krishna wanted it. It was Krishna's order. See, not because he wanted to enjoy, win and like gain victory, or and then he could enjoy the kingdom. No, Arjuna fought because it was Krishna's order. Because we saw Arjuna, he didn't want the earthly kingdom. Forget about earthly kingdom. He didn't want the whole three worlds also given. He says, nah, he's not interested. I don't want Krishna. Actually, he is not interested in any sense gratification. And he's not attached to the results, whether I'll win or lose. He is just doing it for the sake of Krishna. Okay, for Krishna without any expectation of results. So that is what we should do. Okay, so here that is what is explained here. 6.4. Okay. So this is the same thing. You can please read in the when the PPT is given, or in the Bhagavad Gita purport, it will be there of Prabhupada. Okay. And see, this is the ladder of spiritual development. Okay. So here, first step initially we are in the Karma Kanda stage. So what is Karma Kanda stage? We do everything with the expectation of something result. See, we do some pious activities so that we can go to heavenly planets. So everything we do with some expectation. We want the results. We work with the expectation of some results. Okay, we perform some pious activity so that we can go with the expectation that we go to heavenly planets. So that is Karma Kanda. That is the first stage. So next step is Karma Yoga, Nishkama Karma, means renouncing the fruits of one's labor. So Nishkama Karma Yoga, we saw it in chapter 5. What we work, we work without expectation. We work, but without expectation of results. Karma Kanda is with expectation of results. Nishkama Karma is like we work for Krishna, Krishna's satisfaction, without expectation of results. Okay, this is the second stage. Next, third stage is Gnana Yoga. So from Nishkama Karma, we saw that chain, right? Pyramid we saw. We come to Nishkama Karma to Gnana. What is Gnana? We renounce fruits, we give up the results of our work. Plus, what do Gnanis do? They go to the forest and they gain knowledge. They read the Vedas, right? Plus, speculative knowledge about Brahman. So what is the Gnani's final destination? He wants to merge into the impersonal Brahman. So they read books, all Vedas they read, and then they conclude. They read by themselves and they speculate. Oh, how is this? How do I have to go there to the impersonal Brahman? How this is this possible? That is possible. They speculate among themselves. They because they have nobody. They don't depend on anybody's suggestion. Like in Bhakti Yoga, we take the guidance of a spiritual guru who comes in parampara, in disciplic succession. We take the guidance of a spiritual guru. But here, they don't take. They themselves take the effort of reading hard, everything, so many books they read, and how they speculate. Oh, is this possible? This is how to do, and all that. Okay. So this is what they do in Jnana Yoga, plus austerity. Obviously, tapasya they do, right? So next stage after Nishkama Karma Yoga is Jnana Yoga, where you give up your results plus speculative knowledge about first impersonal Brahman. So these people, Jnanis, they meditate on impersonal Brahman plus austerity. So next, after Jnana Yoga, the next step is Ashtanga Yoga. See, the Ashtanga Yoga is better because impersonal Brahman is like, they even though it is Krishna himself, because impersonal Brahman is Krishna's effulgence, right? But no form. But here in Ashtanga Yoga, they meditate on Super Soul, Lord Vishnu, Paramatma form, you all know, right? In how in the yogis they meditate upon Paramatma in their heart. Okay, so they are better because they realize that Lord has a form, God has a form. Right. So next Jnana Yoga to Ashtanga Yoga. So what do these people do? We saw, right? First they renounce the results. So and then Jnana, that is Jnana Yoga. They get knowledge. Like from step 2, they get Jnana. And plus, how do they control the mind and senses? By eightfold. The Ashtanga Yoga path. They control the mind. And then what do they meditate on? Paramatma or super soul within the heart. This is the Ashtanga Yoga. Okay. And next, after this, the highest is loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord. And this is the Bhagavan, ultimate stage, Sri Krishna. So we know that there are 3 stages of God realization, right? Impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So that is why step 2 is Jnana Yoga, step 3 is Ashtanga, and finally is Bhakti Yoga. So slowly they are coming from impersonal Brahman to Super Soul to Bhagavan. The final, that is Bhagavan, is the Bhakti Yoga, which is the easiest and the fastest way to go back to Godhead. So this is the general ladder of spiritual development. Okay, first from Karma Kanda to Nishkama Karma Yoga, then we come to Jnana Yoga, then to Ashtanga Yoga, then to Bhakti Yoga. Okay. So next 6.4. Yada hi nendriyateshu na karmasu anusajjate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rodastadochyate. Translation: a person is said to be elevated in yoga when having renounced all material desires. Okay, so again and again we see the same thing again. See, having renounced all. How can elevated in yoga? When having renounced all material desires, that is, he should give up his sense gratification, nor engages in fruitive activities. Okay, that's what we saw now, right? Yeah, that's what we saw. Okay. Okay, so 6.5 to 6.9, this is the second section. This is the Yoga Rudha stage, giving up work. So Yoga Rudha stage, we saw that in the previous shlokas, it is the highest stage of Ashtanga Yoga. He is a self-realized soul. Okay, here he meditates on the super soul, giving up all his work activities. He does not do any Nishkama Karma Yoga here. Okay, so it's directly, he puts his mind on the super soul and he starts meditating. Okay, so yogi may even give up Nishkama Karma Yoga when his mental control reaches the stage of regarding well-wishers, the envious, the pious, and sinners equally. So what they're saying, see, at this stage, Yoga Rudha stage or the highest stage of Ashtanga Yoga, he gives up Nishkama Karma Yoga. He does not do any work. Why do we do Nishkama Karma Yoga? Because he get purified. But if he's already on the self-realized stage, he does not have to do work to get purified. So he stops work, Nishkama Karma. And then in the self-realized stage, how is he? He regards everybody equal. For him, everybody, because he looks everybody on the platform of soul and super soul, he sees the Paramatma in everybody. See, whether he be a well-wisher, he's envious or pious, sinners, he sees everybody at this stage equally. Okay, so that is what they will try to tell about this Yoga Road stage from 6.5 to 6.9. Okay, so here Yoga Rudasya is, why am I not experiencing pure consciousness? Okay, so work on mind, not on body. So here work on body means what? Give up sense gratification. And work on mind means they are saying then you're giving up all these sense desires. When you work on mind, so when the mind is controlled, the mind is the best friend and the mind is the enemy. So that is what they're saying. So he's saying you'll get experience that pure consciousness when you meditate, when you give up, when you I mean, like, think you're not the body, you are the soul. Okay, so you work on your mind. That is what they are saying, not on the body. So how the Yoga Rudha, they work on the mind using the Ashtanga Yoga, eightfold yoga path system. Okay. See, now they have given the differences between Yoga Rukshu and Yoga Rudha. So Yoga Rukshu already we saw in the previous shlokas, but just let us repeat again once more. So Yoga Rukshu is a neophyte in Ashtanga Yogi. So he's a beginner in Ashtanga Yoga, and Yoga Rudha is advanced in Ashtanga Yoga. So let's see what are the symptoms of a Yoga Rukshu, a neophyte devotee. So here he must work. We said, right, Prabhupada also says that all of a sudden he cannot come and start meditating. So he cannot do that because he's been doing activities till now. So he will still do Nishkama Karma Yoga, and slowly he will get purified, and then he will come to Ashtanga Yoga. Okay. So he must work because he is not detached, pure, or advanced. He is cultivating detachment from fruitive results. Yeah, he's doing Nishkama Karma Yoga, that they're telling. So participates part-time asana. So he does part-time asanas, Ashtanga Yoga. What some asanas will be there, and perhaps pranayama while engaging in karma yoga. So he does karma yoga, that is, he does work in, he executes all his duties, activities, and side by side he does some Ashtanga asanas like pranayama or something like that. Okay, that is the duty of a neophyte. Now let's see what a yoga ruda, advanced Ashtanga yogi does. He does not act for sense gratification. So we know that, right? He gives up sense gratification, and he gives up his results. He does not do anything for his sense gratification. He does for the satisfaction of the super soul and without any expectation of results, right? So he doesn't engage in his fruitive acts. So fruitive results, he's not bothered. He has renounced all material desires. That is sense gratification. Does not want name, fame, nothing like that. Money, wealth, nothing. So permitted to quit prescribed duties. So he is allowed to stop working because he's on that self-realized stage. So Nishkama Karma Yoga so can be given up. That's what they're saying. And he practices yoga full time now because he has that full knowledge. So now he stops work because he's a self-realized person. He meditates. He does no work. He has no sense gratification, no expectation of results, and now his mind is focused only on super soul, nothing else. Okay, so that is the difference between Yoda Rukshu and Yoga Ruda. Okay, 6.5. So we'll see what is the shloka for 6.5. Okay. Uddharet atmanatmanam na atmanam avasadayet atmaiva hi atmano bandhur atmaiva ripur atmanaha. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. Okay, so here one must deliver himself with the help of his mind. So we saw that picture, right? Not the body, using the mind. We have to upgrade ourselves. See, we should not get degraded. We should not think we are this body and everything connected to this body is mind. We should not get involved in sense gratification. That's what you should not get degraded. So you should upgrade. How? By with the help of this mind. Okay, so the mind is the friend of the condition. See, all depends on our mind, you see. The mind is the one which decides everything, what work we have to do. See, suppose in your mind, if you are decided, see, if you think that today is Ekadasi, if the mind decides, I will not eat grain at all, what may come. So the mind is fixed now. But if the mind is not fixed, okay, it is like if it says it's okay, one ekadasi, what will happen? Then mind is your worst enemy. So it's the mind that plays a crucial role. Okay, if the mind is fixed, you are fixed now. Okay, ekadasi, no grains for sure. It's just one day, right? So let me, because Krishna likes ekadasi, and I have to refrain from grains that day. I will do it. So now the mind is fixed. So if the mind is fixed, automatically the senses will listen to the mind. Right? So like that. So the mind is the main thing, that so the mind can be the best friend or it can be the enemy. Okay. So the mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. Okay. So actually for any yoga, the mind is a central point. Okay. So depending on how it is trained, it can either elevate you, I mean, like it can give liberation, it can make you go to liberation and then to Krishna consciousness, or it can degrade you. So mind can degrade you into bondage and material suffering. Okay, you get entangled in this. When you think you're the body, you do all sorts of karma kanda, for which you get bad karma or good karma. So for which you have to take birth again to enjoy or suffer. Okay, so you get degraded again. okay, into bondage and material suffering. See how the mind becomes a friend when it is controlled, right? How can a mind be a friend? When you control the mind and fix it on super soul, it becomes our best friend. So you should control the mind. Okay, so such a mind helps us remember Krishna. Okay, perform duty without selfish desires and progress in spiritual life. Okay, the main thing is you should have a controlled mind. Then you can do all the activities that you want. Okay, you can progress very smoothly in your spiritual life. But how does the mind become an enemy? When the mind is uncontrolled. Okay, so when the mind is uncontrolled, what happens? It is disturbed, right? So then it drags us towards senses and material desires. Okay, so then it becomes our worst enemy. So it says we try to enjoy our senses, sense gratification. We think we are this body and I only have to enjoy everything for my satisfaction, I have to do like that. So but then the mind becomes our worst enemy. Then because of which we get degraded. Okay, so we get more attached to this body and this relationship, because of which we have to undergo, suffer or enjoy, for which we have to take repeated birth and death. Okay. See, now here in the shloka, they are saying Uddharet. So lift oneself. So we are responsible for our own elevation. So Srila Prabhupada stresses that no external force can make us Krishna consciousness. I mean, like Krishna conscious if our own mind is against us. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada is he is stressing the fact. See, no external force can make us Krishna conscious if our own mind is against us. So the main basic practical thing is we should give up this thing that we are this body. We should give up this sense gratification, like I mean, like getting things done for ourselves, and with our mind we should control it. How? By doing activities for Krishna. So that is the only easy way for us to control the mind. Okay, to come away from our sense gratification and divert our senses for satisfying the senses of Krishna. Then the mind gets controlled. Okay, otherwise if the mind is not fixed, no external force can make us Krishna conscious. Okay, so similarly, no obstacle can stop us if our mind is our friend. So if our mind is our friend and if we are fixed, so nothing in the world can stop us from doing that. Okay, no obstacle. Okay, there is no obstacle that can stop us if our mind is our best friend. Okay, so that is why Prabhupada, always says that in Bhakti Yoga, mind control is achieved naturally by engaging the mind in Krishna's service. How we engage the mind in chanting, hearing, remembering Krishna, Smaranam. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada says in Kali Yuga, mechanical control of mind. How? Through Ashtanga Yoga, they do this eightfold exercise and pranayama, yama, niyama, all that, right? So this mechanical control of mind through all these eightfold path yoga system is very difficult. But simply by chanting Hare Krishna, one engages the mind positively and makes it the best friend. So the easiest way to make the mind the best friend is by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. That is what Prabhupada is saying. Okay, so one must use a mind like that. Like it should be controlled. How? By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So that way we we progress on a spiritual path. Or else, if we make it the enemy, it becomes uncontrolled. Then we do our own sense gratification and we get what do you say, bandhan, like what you get more attached to this world, and then because of which you get bad karma or good karma, for which you have to enjoy or suffer, you have to come back, you have to take birth again. So you get entangled in this cycle of birth and death. So one must always try to make the mind our best enemy. I mean, sorry, best friend. Okay? By controlling. That is why easiest way is Bhakti Yoga. Rather than you control your mind and self by Ashtanga Yoga, following the eightfold path system, which is very difficult. We can't do all these turning and twisting of the exercise and everything. Okay, and go to a secluded place and sit there and doing all that different exercise, pranayama, breathing exercise, not possible. Doing all these it's not practical in Kali Yuga. Prabhupada says. So Bhakti Yoga is very easy. Just fix your mind on Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna, hearing about Krishna, reading about Krishna. So easy, right? Smaran about Krishna. Think about the Leelas, pastimes of Krishna. Okay. So here the mind is the key. The main thing, so we should remember in the shloka, the mind is the key. So it can uplift us. The mind can uplift us or degrade us. So it becomes our friend when engaged in remembering and serving Krishna. See, simple. It becomes our friend when we engage in remembering and serving Krishna. It becomes an enemy when uncontrolled and when and chasing our material desires. Okay, so it is our duty to save ourselves by making our mind our ally through spiritual discipline. So we should turn our mind to spirituality. Okay, by so we should turn our mind. I mean, like through the mind, we should turn it to spiritual these things. Okay, spiritual discipline. So that is it is all dependent on us how we can train the mind. Okay, so that's what we are discussing, right? Is the mind a friend or an enemy? Okay, so 6.6. Okay, so this is also we've seen. Bandhur Atmanastasya. तस्य येनात्मनैवात्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्ते वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्. For translation, for him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. So that is what we discussed in the previous shloka, right? For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. So when is the mind the best of friends? We saw when remembering and serving Krishna. But one who is not able to train the mind, it becomes its mind becomes the worst enemy. And what happens? He is after these worldly material desires and he gets entangled in this material world. So for which he has to again take birth and he's entangled in this cycle of birth and rebirth. Okay. So that's why we should always try to train our mind to become our best friend by engaging in the service of Krishna, remembering and serving Krishna. Okay. So 6.7. Okay, so let's see what the shloka is. Jitatmanah prasantasya paramatma samahitah shitoshna sukha dukkeshu tata manapamanayo. Okay, for one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached. See, who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. So he has attained that peace, that calmness. So if you get that calmness, it means that you have already achieved the super soul. That is what Krishna is trying to say. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. So this is, he's talking about the Ruda, what is that? Ruda, the higher stage of Ashtanga Yoga. What is that? It is Ruda, what is that name? I forgot, sorry. Yoga Ruda. He's talking about a person who's Yoga Ruda, who is on the self-realized platform. He's in the advanced stage of Ashtanga Yoga. So for him, it is said that if he has conquered the mind, he has achieved that peace. Okay, if he has made his mind his best friend, he gets that peacefulness, he gets that calm. So when he gets that peacefulness and calm, it means to say that he's already reached the super soul. So obviously, if he reaches the super soul, he's a self-realized person, right? A self-realized person sees everything as soul and super soul. So for him, he is not disturbed by the external circumstances, the material circumstances. Like he doesn't if anything, something good happens, like he's not so happy that he jumps into the air. If something bad happens, he's sad. Nothing like that. Heat and cold. He's not affected by cold honor. If someone scolds him, he's not bothered, and someone praises him, he's not bothered. So when he, because he's a self-realized person, he's on the platform of soul. All these bodily attractions like happiness, distress, cold, honor, dishonor doesn't affect him. That is what they're trying to say in this seventh shloka. Okay, so what is a condition of a self-controlled yogi? Okay, he is jitatmanaha. They are saying here jitatmana. Yeah, so the first shloka there, the seven, Jitatmanaha. So what does Jitatmana mean? One who has conquered the mind and senses. So such a yogi becomes what? Prashantasya. So he becomes Prashanta, peaceful. His peace comes from where? From realizing the Paramatma, super soul within. So Srila Prabhupada says, when one is actually situated in Krishna consciousness, by self-control, he sees, like that is by self-realization, he sees the super soul within and becomes satisfied. Okay, so automatically when the because of the mind, he attains that peace. Okay, peace and calmness. It is said that he is in that self-realized stage, or in the advanced stage of Ashtanga Yoga. So because of attaining that peace and calm, it is said that he sees the super soul within and he becomes satisfied. Okay, so when he has reached that stage, that yogi, that Ashtanga yogi, he is equal in dualities: heat, cold, happiness, distress, honor, dishonor. These no longer disturb him. Why? Because his happiness comes from within, from the Paramatma, not from external conditions. Okay, so he's not bothered about external conditions. He's already happy from within. Okay, because of the Paramatma, because of seeing the Paramatma, he becomes satisfied. How, just like Prabhupada gives an analogy, just like a lotus leaf, it stays untouched, though it stays in water with the lotus leaf stays in water, it stays untouched by water. Similarly, the yogi, he remains undisturbed by life's ups and downs. Okay, so he's not bothered because inward he's so happy. So he's not bothered about the external conditions. He is not bothered about the material ups and downs. Okay. Example, see, you see Arjuna on the battlefield. So what is the distress he faced? Fighting against family and teacher. Honor, dishonor, what is it? If it's a, some will say, if Arjuna fights, some will criticize. If he doesn't fight, others will mock. And heat and cold, what is that? In battle, there is discomfort. Yet, see, when Arjuna fixed his mind on Krishna's instruction, he rose above all these dualities. Okay, all this distress, honor, dishonor, heat, cold. So he overcame all these. Why? When Arjuna was fixed his mind on Krishna's orders. Okay, when Arjuna fixed his mind on Krishna's instruction, he rose above all these dualities. Okay, so hope you understood this example of Arjuna on the battlefield. So he faced distress. Why? Because he was fighting with his family and teachers. He had to face honor, dishonor. Because some people, if he fights, some will criticize. If he doesn't fight, others will mock him. And he heat and cold. What is the heat and cold in the battle? There is discomfort. See, in spite of having all these dualities, yet when Arjuna fixed his mind on Krishna's instructions, he rose above all these dualities. So why Prabhupada says, why is the super soul already achieved? They are saying, right, if the mind is conquered, then he has achieved his calm and peace and calmness. Okay, then it is said that he already achieved the super soul. Why? Srila Prabhupada explains that. So one who has conquered the mind and senses is peaceful and steady. He is beyond the dualities. Okay, because he's on the self-realized stage, dualities only happen in this material world. But a self-realized person, though in this material world, he's above the material world because now he's self-realized. So he is beyond dualities. So he's already connected with the super soul. So he doesn't have to search for Paramatma separately. So when he has that calm, and when he is calm and steady, peaceful and steady, he's beyond dualities. And then it means that he's already connected with the super soul. So he does not separately have to search for Paramatma because through sense control and purity, Paramatma naturally reveals himself. Okay, so because when you have the sense control and mind and mind also, right? When the mind is controlled, the senses are controlled, and then we become pure. Okay, so that time Paramatma naturally reveals himself. Okay, so by our purity, automatically the Paramatma reveals himself. Okay, so that is what said. Prabhupada, he always gives this bhakti connection. So in bhakti yoga, this steadiness comes quickly because the devotees serve Krishna directly, right? Okay, instead of artificial suppression of senses. In Ashtanga yoga, what do? They try to suppress the senses by the eightfold path system. But the devotees, they engage their senses in Krishna's service and thus they become peaceful. So, yeah, example is Haridas Thakur. See, he remained calm when he was tortured. So, if all of you know the story of Haridas Thakur, he was beaten in 24 marketplaces because actually he was a Muslim, but he was chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. The Qazi and the Muslim king at that time, he said, "You are a Muslim and you should chant your Muslim mantras. Why are you chanting Hindu mantras? So give up." But then Haridas Thakur, he said, "No, Muslim or Hindu doesn't matter. Okay, I have tasted the mantra. So I'm so happy when I chant the Hare Krishna mantra, I cannot give it up." So then the Muslim king gets angry and gets him beaten up in 21 marketplaces. Imagine if we get beaten by in one marketplace itself, we'll die. So he was beaten up in 21 marketplaces, but still he was calm. Even when he was being beaten in all these 21 marketplaces, he was tortured. Still, he was calm because his mind was fixed on chanting Krishna's name. Okay. So that is the essence. So one who has conquered the mind, he becomes peaceful and steady, and he sees the super soul within and is undisturbed by the dualities of life. Okay, and Prabhupada says this stage is easily achieved most perfectly in Bhakti Yoga, where the mind is directly absorbed in Krishna. Okay, so we don't have to do all these different kind of artificial means in like in Ashtanga Yoga, do this exercise, that exercise. Directly we connect with Krishna, we engage our senses in Krishna, and that's it. We get purified. We get that, and the mind is calm and it gets steady. It becomes, like it's easy in Bhakti Yoga. That's what Prabhupada always says. He compares Ashtanga Yoga to Bhakti Yoga. Like finally, anyway, after Ashtanga Yogi, they come to Bhakti Yoga that we've already seen, right? Okay, so 6.8. Gnana Vignana Triptatma Kutasto Vijitendriyaha Yukta iti Uchyate Yogi Samaloshrama Kanchanaha. So, a person is said to be established in self realization and is called a yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stone, or gold, as the same. So, they are telling more qualities of a advanced stage Ashtanga yogi. Okay, so what are they saying? Gnana Vignana. Okay, so Gnana means what? Theoretical knowledge. What is theoretical knowledge? I am not this body, I am spirit soul. And what is Vignana? Vignana is realized knowledge. So, practical experience of soul and Krishna. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada says the yogi is not satisfied by just book knowledge alone. He is satisfied when realization awakes in the heart. Okay, for example, see, more than theory, if you see, if you do practicals, then you get a lot of knowledge, right? You get a lot of satisfaction also. For example, you're reading about sugar, that is gnana. You're getting the knowledge, you're reading about sugar. But what is vijnana? Realizing. Actually, when you taste sugar, you take a spoon of sugar and you put it in your mouth, then you know what are the qualities of sugar. But when you read about sugar, you know. But when you realize it, when you take a spoon and put it in your mouth, you realize, then you get the happiness, right? So you realize. So gnana, vijnana, they're telling. So the yogi has, um, so the yogi has tasted spiritual truth. Okay, so he has got that vijnana. Gnana he has got, and vijnana also he's got. So he's tasted the spiritual truth. He has realized the super soul. So gnana, vijnana. Next, what they say? Where is this page, right? Yeah. Truptatma. And then what? Kutasto. Kutastha means steady. Okay, the yogi is fixed, unchanging, not disturbed by any circumstances. See, they're giving the qualities of a self-realized Ashtanga yogi. Okay, so he's kutastha, steady. The yogi is fixed, he's unchanging, not disturbed by any circumstances. He's stable. See how he's stable in criticism, praise, wealth, or poverty. Okay, nothing can shake him up. If somebody criticizes, also he's like steady. He's praises. Somebody praises, he's steady. If he gets wealth or he becomes poverty, no money, he's still the same. Nobody can shake him up. Okay, so that is the thing. Next, third, Kutaso, then Vijitendriyaha means master of the senses. The yogi has conquered his senses. Okay, they are no longer dictate his actions. Okay, so we saw, right, how he controls the mind. If he has conquered the mind is the best friend. Okay, and if mind is the best friend, automatically senses will listen to the mind. So instead, such a yogi actually is situated in transcendental position. So we saw in the previous sloka how if he has conquered the mind, his mind becomes calm and peaceful. It means that it becomes purified. So it means that we saw it in the previous sloka, when the mind is purified and it is controlled, automatically the super soul reveals himself. Okay, he is in transcendental position and he becomes self-controlled. So next point is Samaloshrama Kanchanaha. So he has this equal vision. So Sama equally he sees Loshtra Ama Kanchana. Okay, he sees Loshtra Asma Kanchana. Okay, he sees what? Pebbles, stone, and gold equally. For us, normal material people, what do we think when we see gold? We try to hide it. But pebbles and stone we neglect. Right? But for this self-realized Ashtanga yogi, he sees pebbles, gold as equal to pebbles and stones. He sees them on the same level. He knows materially the difference between pebbles, stones, gold. He knows gold has more value. But since he's on the spiritual platform, he's no more interested in all this. Though he knows gold has more value than stones and pebbles, he treats them equally because he's on the spiritual platform. Because for him, all these don't give him happiness now. Maybe for us, they can gold when we see it gives us happiness. But he knows all these cannot give him real happiness. So for him, material objects are just external. Okay, the real treasure is Krishna. Okay, for him, his treasure is Krishna, not gold. Okay, not any external objects. Okay, example, see, for a child, a toy has great value, right? For a child, if you give him a toy, he's like very happy. But if you give the same toy and stone to an adult, okay, so they're not worth to him, right? See, a toy has value to a small child, but if you give the same toy and stone to an adult, both are equal, right? But adult has nothing to do with the toy, it's equal to a stone for him. No value, not worth. So, similarly, For the yogi, gold has no special charm. He is not interested. Okay. So Prabhupada, that's why he stresses that such steadiness is most perfectly found in Krishna's devotee. So he's giving importance to Bhakti Yoga. So this steadiness is found, Prabhupada says, in a Krishna's devotee, because a bhakta is always satisfied by hearing and chanting about Krishna's name. That is Jnana and Vijnana. Okay. So he naturally sees the world equally and he controls his senses. So what Prabhupada says, thus Bhakti Yoga is the highest perfection. So finally, what they are trying to say, the yogi is satisfied by knowledge and realization. So Gnana and Vijnana. So he is steady and the master of the senses. He sees pebbles, stones, and gold as equal. He sees only the real thing that is of value is he sees is Krishna. Okay, for him, nothing else is important. Okay, 6.9. Suhrin mitrari udasina madhyastadvesha bandhushu sadhushu apicha papeshu samabuddhir vishishyati. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, the neutral mediators, the envious friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners with an equal mind. Okay, so in this is just a continuation, right? Okay, verse 8, what did we see? The yogi, he sees pebbles, stones, gold equally. In verse now 9, now he extends the vision of a realized Ashtanga yogi to all types of people. Now, yeah, earlier he was talking about pebble, stone, gold. Now he's talking about all types of people, regardless of behavior, relationship, or morality. So this is the stage of Sama Buddhi. Okay, Sama Buddhi means equal vision. Okay, so what are the different categories of people mentioned? He mentions Suhrut. Who is the Suhrut? Well-wisher, who cares for you without expecting anything. Mitra, a friend. Okay, he has mutual affection, a give and take is there. And Ari, an enemy. Udasina, he's neutral. Okay, doesn't take any sides. Madhyastha, he's a mediator, tries to balance both the sides. Dveshya, hateful person, one who hates. So he's actively envious, okay? And Bandhu, a relative, blood connection. So Sadhu, saintly, is a virtuous man. Papi, a sinner. So the yogi sees them all equally as spirit souls. Though one is envious, though one hates, one is a blood relationship, one is friend. So he sees them all equally as spirit souls who are part and parcel of Krishna. He understands that they're temporarily covered by different bodies and mentalities. See, like how gold is covered by dirt. Okay, the yogi, he looks at gold. Okay, gold is what soul. He does not look at the covering, the body he doesn't see. Like how even though the gold is covered by dirt, we clean the dirt and we take the gold, right? So that's how the yogi sees the soul and not the outer covering of the body. Okay, so let's see, go to the next one. So next, 6 enemies of the mind. So this is a third topic we are going to. So what are the 6 enemies of the mind? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha, Matsarya. So we know all this, right? 6 enemies of the mind. Okay, one established in self-realization. So this is the same previous 6.8, same thing. Same, sees pebbles, stones, gold as the same. And now more advanced with the people. He sees honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, and meditates. All this is the same. He sees them equally because he's on that self-realized stage. Okay, now 6.10 to 32, we'll see further stages in the practice of yoga. So Krishna describes the different practices of Ashtanga yoga. So 8 stages are there, right? All Ashta, right? Ashta means 8. So he is giving the 8 stages here. What are the 8 stages? Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So in this Yoga Rukshu is the beginning stage and Yoga Ruda is the advanced stage. So Yoga Ruda we stop work and Yoga Rukshu is beginning stage where work is done. Okay, and Yoga Rukshu stage is still uh, Pratyahara. So Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara come under Yoga Rukshu and Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi they come under Yoga Rudu. Okay, and the results are Yoga Rudu is the perfectional stage, ultimate vision of the super soul. So the Ashtanga Yoga is the topmost stage is called Yoga Ruda. Okay, that is the advanced stage where he sees the super soul. Okay, so these are the different kinds of yoga. Okay, yoga for physical mental health, yoga, chair yoga, yoga for cats, yoga for pregnant ladies, all these different, see, this is Ashtanga yoga. They do different kinds of exercises. Beer yoga. So all these like are very funny actually. Okay. So Ashtanga yoga. So these are the 8 things that we have. Yama means Yama Niyama means what we have to do, what not we have to do. So asana is the sitting posture and pranayama is breathing control. Pratyahara is controlling of the senses. Dharana is concentration of the mind. We concentrate. Dhyana is full in deep absorption. And samadhi is like union with the super soul. Okay. So here we won't read the shlokas, we'll go fast. By reading itself, we can understand, right? All the shlokas will be covered. Okay. So Yama, first stage is Yama, right? 6.10 it says he should live alone. So Yama Niyama means the do's and don'ts. Okay, he should live alone in a secluded place and should always control his mind. Okay, Niyama is 6.17. He should be temperate in his habits of eating, sleeping, working, and recreation. How he should eat? He should be like regulated, not eat too much, not eat less, sleeping, not eat too much, like that, everything, all that. Yama, Niyama, and everything. So, asana, like how should his sitting position be? Lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin. The seat should neither be too high nor too low and it should be situated. So you can all read these and you can just imagine whether you can do it or not. What Ashtanga Yogi does. You can see in the picture, right, what he's doing. Can we do that? Okay, and then cover it with a deer skin. The seat should neither be too high nor too low and it should be situated in a sacred place. One should hold one's body, neck and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. So thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear. He should be devoid of fear because he's staying in a forest, right? Anytime any ferocious animal can come and attack him. So he should be fearless. Okay, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life. So one should meditate upon me, Krishna says. With all this, he should meditate upon Krishna. Okay, and next, oops. Yeah, pranayama. Next stage is after asana is pranayama, next stage. So practice stopping the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming and incoming breath into the outgoing, thus at last remain in trance. So next after pranayama is yama, sorry. Yeah. Next, after pranayama is pratyahara, cessation of material existence. So they stop all material activities. So we said, right, now pratyahara, they stop all material activities. The person who comes to the yoga ruda stage, he stops all material activities. So dharana disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence. He is devoid of all material desires, no sense gratification with no expectation of results. He is said to have attained yoga. And last is dhyana, 6.19. As a lamp in a windowless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist whose mind is controlled remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendental self. So we saw, right, how the mind is controlled, it is calm and steady, and then he can focus. It is like if it is purified, automatically the super soul is revealed. So he always remains steady in his meditation on the transcendental self. And the final stage is samadhi. So at this stage, he's never shaken up, even among the whatever greatest difficulty. He is never shaken up. So this indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. Okay, so all other yogas are progression towards bhakti yoga. So we said, right, we saw all how karma kanda, karma yoga, gnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, and finally the step is you have to come to bhakti yoga. But what Prabhupada is telling, why do we have to do follow so much? We'll directly skip to bhakti yoga. We'll engage all our senses in Krishna. That is the easiest and the quickest way. Why do we have to give birth after birth doing karma yoga, gnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, and then come to bhakti yoga? Okay. Okay, there is no possibility of once becoming. Yeah, this is 6.16. Okay, so nati asnatastu yogo asti na chaikantam anashnatah na chati swapnashilasya jagruto naiva charjuna. So translation, there is no possibility of once becoming a yogi, O Arjuna, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. Okay, so a real yogi means regulated life. He's control, has a control, he leads a controlled life. See, neither overindulgence, too much eating, sleeping, sense enjoyment, nor extreme renunciation like fasting and sleeplessness is favorable. Okay, what happens if you eat too much? It makes body heavy, mind dull, and hard to meditate. If you eat too little, what happens? You have weak body, disturbed mind, no strength for yoga. And what happens if you oversleep? Laziness. And if you undersleep, mental disturbance. See, example, in temple, devotees take prasadam moderately. So enough, so they take so much prasadam enough to keep their body and soul together. They don't take for sense enjoyment. And devotees also sleep sufficiently. They sleep for 6 hours to stay healthy, but they avoid oversleeping. Okay, so now let's go to the next shloka. 6.24. Okay, what is 6.24? Please don't think we have jumped to 6.24. Remaining all shlokas are we have done in that yama, niyama, pratyahara, all those shlokas. Everything is covered. I saw. Please don't worry. When you get the PPT, you will understand. Okay, so all these shlokas are what are not covered there are covered here now. Okay. So now we are in the 6.24. Sa nischayena योक्तव्यो योगो अनिर्विन्न चेतसा संकल्प प्रभवान कामां त्यक्त्वा सर्वान् अशेषतः मनसैवेन्द्रिय ग्रामं विनियम्य समन्ततः. Okay, translation. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith, not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Okay, so what are they saying here? Nischayena yaktaha. Sorry, yuktaha. Yeah. Nischayena means determination in practice. So the yogi cannot be successful if one practices today and neglects tomorrow. He should be determined. Every day he should do. Not today I will do, tomorrow I won't do. Okay. So and next what? Tyaktva sarvan kaman. He should what? Renunciation of desires. So all desires coming from sankalpa. What is sankalpa? Mental concatenation and imagination. See, all desires coming from imagination must be given up. Example, see, we may think that, oh, if I get a big house, I will be happy. So this is material sankalpa. This is not reality. So you should give up these desires of pertaining to the body. Okay, so we should give up all the renunciation of desires, no sense gratification. We should renounce. Okay, such desires are on bodily platform. So next, what are they saying? Manasai Vendriya Gramam. So control the senses by mind. Manasa Iva Indriya. So mind and Indriya senses control. So control senses by mind. So the mind is the leader of the senses. So if mind is controlled, the senses are automatically controlled. So see, for example, if the mind decides I am fasting today, so then automatically the senses like tongue, stomach, and other senses have to follow. So Srila Prabhupada says the best way to control the mind is to engage in Krishna consciousness, chanting, hearing, remembering Krishna. For example, a devotee gives up desires for material enjoyment because he experiences the higher taste. Okay, when you get a higher taste, obviously you lose interest for all this material taste, lower taste, right? How, just like a child, if he's playing with dirt, how does he give it up easily? If he's given some sweet or something, then he automatically gives up playing in the dirt. So similarly, the yogi, he gives up lower desires when he gets the sweetness of spiritual practice. Okay. So next 625. Okay. शनैः उपरमेत् बुद्ध्या धृति गृहीतया आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चित् अपि चिन्तयेत्. So translation, gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone, okay, and should think of nothing else. Okay, so here progress is, they are saying shanaihi. So progress is gradual. So yoga is not just attained in one day. So it requires patience, determination, and practice. And then what are they saying? Buddhaya dhriti grihitaya. Okay, guided by intelligence. Buddhaya means intelligence. Dhriti grihitaya. So it be guided by intelligence. So we all know the mind is flickering and restless, but the intelligence which is guided by scripture and guru must direct the mind. Okay, so the intelligence through the how it will guide through scripture and guru, it should direct the mind. Then atma samstam manah kritva, fixing the mind on the self. The mind must be fixed on self, means Paramatma, not on void or not blank meditation. Should be fixed on super soul. Okay. Next, they're saying, na kinchit api chintayet. No other thoughts. Kinchit, not the slightest, no other. No other chintayet, no other thoughts. So the yogi should not let the mind wander to material subjects. See, example, if you're doing japa and during japa one thinks, oh, what is for lunch? What is on my phone? Let me see my messages. So that is a distraction. So the true yogi pulls the mind back to Krishna. Okay. So as usual, Prabhupada says that in bhakti, this is natural because the devotee's mind is absorbed in hearing, chanting, and serving Krishna. Okay. So finally, what are they saying? The yoga process is step by step. Okay, it does not happen all of a sudden. Okay, step by step with patience and determination, and the intelligence must guide the restless mind. How? Through guru and scriptures. Okay, the intelligence must guide the restless mind. And what is the goal? Goal is to fix the mind on Paramatma, not on void. Okay, and don't allow any wandering thoughts. Keep the mind in transcendence. Okay, this is like a mind training ladder. This is like from one path we are going to, it's like very difficult to understand actually. The path, see, first you have this distracted mind. Why is it distracted? Because it is scattered by desires, okay, and wandering thoughts. Okay, next stage is what? Disciplined effort. Okay, how you are using your intelligence through scriptures and guru's guidance to through intelligence to control the distracted mind. Then after this control, you get steady focus. So the mind, steady focus is the mind becomes, comes to rest in the self, on the super soul. Okay, so once that steady focus is there, the mind begins to concentrate on the super soul. Then what happens? Deep absorption. So now the mind does not wander. So the mind is absorbed in Paramatma. Okay. So this is the mind training ladder. Okay. So hope you've understood it. I mean, okay. So this is how the yogi gradually raises the mind from distraction to full absorption on Paramatma. Okay. Hope it is clear. But please go through the PPT. After giving the PPT, if you have any doubts at any point of time, please get back to me. Okay, I told you as it is, this Dhyana Yoga is a very somewhat a complicated topic. Okay, if you understood it is really nice, but if you don't understand after seeing the PPT, kindly please get back to me with your doubts anytime on any of the chapters. Okay, yeah. So let's go to 6.26. Okay. यतो यतो निश्चलति मनश्चाञ्चलम् अस्थिरं ततस्ततो नियम्येतद् आत्मनि एव वशं नयेत्. From wherever the mind wanders, due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. So, the same thing they are saying here. See, the nature of the mind is here they are saying chanchalam means flickering and astiram. It is unsteady. Okay, so it naturally runs off. The mind is it every time runs after sense objects, just like a restless child or untamed monkey. Okay, so the yogi he doesn't get discouraged when the mind wanders. Instead, what he does, he repeatedly brings the mind back from distraction and he refixes it on the Paramatma. Okay, he's not disturbed. He again, when it wanders, he again brings it back, and focuses on Paramatma. So, this is the practice of meditation. So, he has to constantly bring it back, not giving up. Okay, so just as a mother, she patiently pulls her mischievous child back again and again from danger. Like that, the yogi pulls his mind back from material thoughts. Okay, let's go to 27. Okay, 27, let's read the shloka. Prashanta manasam hyenam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti shanta rajasam brahma bhutam akalmasham. So, translation. The yogi, please give me just another 10 minutes, we'll be over. Kindly, I'm so sorry. I thought I'll stop by 8, but please just give me 10 more minutes. Huh? Please bear me. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. So they're giving all the qualities of this highest stage yogi of Ashtanga yogi. Okay, attains perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is free from all reactions to past deeds. Okay, so what are they saying in 27? Prashanta manasam. So peaceful mind. So by controlling the restless mind, as we saw how we could control, and we saw in 6.26, we saw the mind training ladder, right? How we control the mind, how the disturbed mind we controlled it to absorbing in the super soul. Okay, so after controlling the mind, in like in previous shloka, the yogi attains peace. His mind is no longer dragged into material desires. Next, what are they saying? Sukham uttamam. He gets transcendental happiness because he's on that higher stage, samadhi, transcendental happiness. See, we see material happiness. What is the difference between material and spiritual happiness? Material happiness is temporary and it is mixed with misery. Spiritual happiness is like eternal, it is pure, it is increasing. Okay, it is bliss. Okay, so just like, see, a fish finds real happiness only in water. You bring the fish out of water, you give it money, wealth, name, fame, AC, air cooler, 64 varieties of food, it is not happy. When it is its real happiness is when it is put back into water, right? Like that, the soul finds happiness only in spiritual engagement, that is Paramatma. Okay, and next, what are they saying in the shloka? Shanta Rajasam. So he is freed from passion. So mode of passion means what? Pushes one towards Rajoguna means what? He's pushed towards endless desires. He's restless. He's always competing. Okay, so he's free from all this. Rajoguna. So the yogi, he becomes peaceful because he becomes free from passion, and his hankering are subdued. And next, what they are saying, Brahma Bhutam Akalmasham. So this is the Brahma Bhuta stage. So he realizes his true identity. In the Brahma Bhuta stage, means what? He realizes that I'm not this body, I am spirit soul. At this stage, there is no hankering for gain because he thinks on the platform of soul, right? Not body. So he does not bother about gain. He does not lament for any loss. So he sees every body with equal vision, or he sees all vision, people with equal vision. So Srila Prabhupada says Bhakti Yoga gives this peace and transcendent happiness more directly. So devotees they naturally become peaceful, free from sin and joyful by constantly remembering Krishna. So finally, what are they saying? A yogi who controls his mind attains the highest transcendental happiness and peace. He becomes free from passion and sin. He realizes his spiritual identity, that he is the soul, and enters into the Brahma Bhuta stage. Okay, so now let's see 28. So, okay, so 28. Yunjan evam sadatmanam yogi vigata kalmashaha sukhena brahma samsparsham atyantam sukham ashnate. Thus, the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. So this is continuation to 27. So 27, when he practices, he gets this. Now in 28, if he further continues, they're saying constantly he is engaged in yoga practice. What happens? So what happens in 27, further enhancement happens of the same thing. See, in 27, we saw the yogi experiences happiness when the mind is pacified. Okay. So in 28, we see that this happiness is not temporary. He experiences it always, sadatmanam. Okay, when he's steady, like when he's doing continuous practice of yoga, his happiness is continuous. It is not temporary. He experiences it always. Okay, and second, you see, in 6.27 we saw the yogi is akalmasham. He is free from sins and passion. Now in 6.28 they are saying vigata kalmashaha. He is fully purified. No more contamination of material modes. Okay. So earlier he is just free from sins and passion. Now here he is fully purified. Okay, there he's just freed from passion. So here, no more concentration of material modes. See, when you continuously practice, see, you get more purified and you reach more to that highest stage, right? So that is what this 6.27 is the starting stage, and 6.28 is like a end stage. So the more you practice, more you practice, you more reach to that highest stage. Okay. So now the real taste in 6.27 we saw he realizes Brahma Bhuta. He comes to know that he is the spirit soul, he is not this body. But in 6.28 they tell doing steady yoga, what happens? He gets the knowledge in 6.27, he realizes, but in 6.28 what? By his continuous steady practice, he experiences Brahman. So he comes in direct contact with Brahman. Okay, so we saw, right, in the earlier shloka, he just realizes Brahman. So he knows that by doing this, I will be get into this Brahman stage. But now with continuous practice, he experiences, like he comes in direct contact, samsparshanam, Brahma samsparshanam, direct contact with Brahman. It's like gnana vignana. There he realizes in 6.27 because of continuous practice of yoga, Ashtanga yoga, he gets direct contact with Brahman. So, which gives him what? Atyanta Sukham, supreme bliss. So, knowing you're a fish is Brahma Bhuta, and when you know, when you actually swim in water, that is Brahma Samsparshana. Okay, so you got the difference between shloka 6.27 and 2.8. 2.7 is just like the knowledge stage. 2.8 is like the more you practice, the real it becomes. Okay, so that is the difference between 6.27. It is the enhanced version 2.8, further progress. Okay, so finally, as usual, Prabhupada says, the happiness is perfected not by neutrality. Neutrality is by Ashtanga Yoga, by artificial control of senses, but by loving Krishna. So a devotee feels this transcendental joy naturally in chanting, worship, and service. Okay, so actually, if you see 6.27, the yogi becomes peaceful, he is free from passion and sin, and he realizes his spiritual identity. So now in 6.28, with steady practice, he always, okay, here in 6.27, only when he practices. But here, because of steady practice, he always remains pure, always blissful, and experiences supreme happiness. There he realizes Brahman. He knows that he's a soul. Now he experiences this super soul. He is able to come in direct contact with super soul. Okay, and he experiences that Atyanta Sukham. He gets that supreme happiness through Brahma Samsparshana. Okay. So actually, this is nothing from 27 to 28 is a progression. Okay. So first you get a peaceful mind, and then you're freed from passion and sin. Then you come to the Brahma Bhuta realization. Then you are purified. Then you come to the supreme bliss. This is the stage. So 6.29. सर्वभूतस्थम् आत्मनं सर्वभूतानि च आत्मनि ईक्षते योगयुक्तात्मा सर्वत्र समदर्शनः. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. Okay, so in 6.28 we see that the yogi becomes purified and blissful by constant meditation. Now, when he gets that bliss in 6.29, the bliss expands outward. So we can see that happiness outward, how he sees all beings equally, recognizing the super soul is present in everyone. So this is yogi's universal compassion. Okay. So he sees in everybody Krishna is there. Okay, so that is the yogi's universal compassion. So now let's see your 6.30. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha me na pranashyati. See, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So what is he saying? A true yogi sees Krishna is present everywhere, not just in the temple. Okay, he's present in every living being, every atom, every situation. Okay, he also sees that everything rests in him, in Krishna. Okay, Krishna's energies are there, right? His energy, Krishna's energies and beings, human beings, are all dependent on him. Such a yogi is never separated from Krishna, and Krishna is never separated from him. See, for example, a fish cannot live without water. Similarly, a devotee cannot live without Krishna. And Krishna never forgets such a soul. He personally protects and guides him. Okay, so what is the difference between a yogi and a materialist? A materialist sees only the body, like he sees his friend, enemy, rich, poor. So yogi, he sees beyond. He sees the soul and super soul everywhere. Okay, as usual, Prabhupada says a devotee always thinks of Krishna, hearing, chanting, remembering, and he sees Krishna everywhere. Such a devotee, Krishna is always present and he's never lost. Okay, so here what they are saying, the yogi who truly sees Krishna everywhere and everything in Krishna lives in an eternal connection with him. So such a devotee is never separated from Krishna, and Krishna never abandons him. So this is the highest stage of yoga. So what is that? Constant union with Krishna. Okay. So 631. So just last two shlokas, please bear with me. Because if you finish this, we can start a new topic, topic altogether. Okay. 6.31. सर्वभूतस्थितं यो मां भजति एकत्वम् आस्थितः सर्वथा वर्तमानो अपि स योगी मयि वर्तते. Okay, such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the super soul, knowing that I and super soul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. Okay. Okay. So, a yogi who is practicing meditation on the super soul, he sees within himself the plenary portion of Krishna as Vishnu with four hands. He sees holding conch shell, wheel club, and lotus flower. So, the yogi should know that Vishnu is not different from Krishna. So, Krishna in this form of super soul is situated in everyone's heart. So, furthermore, he knows that the super soul is situated in everyone's heart. So there's no difference between the innumerable super souls present in the innumerable hearts of living entities. Okay. So he sees there is no difference between a Krishna conscious person always engaged in transcendental loving service of Krishna and a perfect yogi who is meditating on the super soul. So because both are the same, right? So Krishna as super soul and Krishna himself, like we devotees, we do direct service to Krishna, and whereas a Ashtanga yogi he meditates on super soul, Paramatma, right? So there is no difference. That is what they are trying to say. So be it Krishna or super soul, they know that I and the super soul are one. So they remain always in me in all circumstances. Okay. So this is 31. Now let's see 32. Atma येन सर्वत्र समं पश्यति यो अर्जुना सुखं वा यदि वा दुःखं स योगी परमो मतः. He is a perfect yogi who by comparison to his own self he compares everybody to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress, O Arjuna. So, what are they saying? Atmaupamyena means they're comparing, principle of comparison. How is a yogi comparing himself to himself? See, a yogi, he applies this golden rule. Just as I don't want suffering, others also don't want suffering. So just as I want happiness, others also want happiness. So on that basis, he treats all living beings equally. So because of this equal vision, the yogi is naturally compassionate. So he does not cause unnecessary pain to others, whether it be human or animals. So a devotee does not think this is my enjoyment. Others don't matter to me. Whatever they suffer, I don't care. So I want to enjoy. He does not think like that. He sees everyone as part of Krishna's family and works for their ultimate welfare by sharing Krishna consciousness. Okay. So the supreme yogi is one who sees others' happiness and distress just like his own, and therefore he treats everyone equally with compassion, fairness, and devotion because he understands that all beings are souls. They are part and parcel of Krishna. Okay, so we'll end here, and tomorrow next let's start with a new topic, section 4. Okay, so thank you so much.